Back when I was a child, there were 7 main characters in Ninjago: Lloyd, Kai, Cole, Jay, Zane, Nia, and Sensei Wu. The theme has changed a lot since then, but the current lineup remains basically the same with a few added characters. The method of obtaining them as minifigures, though, has only grown more and more difficult in the 13 years since the theme's inception. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing some of the differences between collecting LEGO Ninjago now and collecting it back in 2011, as we explore how and why obtaining a full cast of the show's characters in 2025 is more tedious and more expensive than ever before. So stick around until the end. It's hard to believe now, but when Ninjago debuted nearly 15 years ago, there were only 6 main characters. The 4 ninja, those being Kai, Cole, Jay, and Zane, and then Kai's sister Nia, who later became Samurai X and then the Elemental Master of Water, and the team's Sensei, Wu, later known as Master Wu. In the initial wave of sets released alongside the 4 11-minute episodes, there was an abundance of minifigures, with several duplicates of every character. If you happened to be a young child at the time and all you wanted was to have an entire team of characters from the show that you loved, it would only take maybe 3 or 4 sets to have a well-rounded roster of heroes and villains. On top of that, it would be relatively inexpensive, easily completable in one birthday or Christmas. Plus, the inclusion of the later absent spinner packs in the initial waves of the theme also made for an easy way to patch up any missing characters that you didn't get in the main sets. For example, you could buy the Turbo Shredder for $29.99 and you get Jay, Cole, and Fracture. You then buy the Spinjitzu Dojo for $49.99 and get Zane, Wu, and Knuckle. And maybe you also buy Garmadon's Dark Fortress for $69.99 and also gain Nia, Kai, Garmadon, Samakai, and Bonsai. And just like that, you have all 4 ninja plus Wu and Nia, 3 different Skullkin villains, and the 2 main villains of the theme for only $150 which, factoring in inflation, would be about $215 in 2025. But what if you want all of the special DX ninja? Well, no problem. Buy Cole and Zane's DX spinners for $10 each, get the Mountain Shrine with Kai for $19.99, and then Skeleton Bowling with Jay for $29.99. Whilst we're here, we might as well throw in Chopov, Cruncher, Crazy, and Whiplash's spinners for $9.99 each, as well as the one with the black suit version of Wu, and now for a grand total of $260, or around $387 in 2025, you have one of every single unique figure in the original Ninjago wave, plus a very decent selection of vehicles and builds, which, spoiler alert, is something you absolutely cannot do today. Due to most characters' appearances in smaller sets, the only truly exclusive minifigure from the pilot wave is Samakai, who is in the 2 largest sets, and he was originally supposed to have a spinner that was cancelled due to his minifigure being too top-heavy, which sadly also robbed us of a character card for him. So you can already see from the sets that I've shown you, the first wave was very generous with its minifigure distribution. But let's move on to Season 1 from 2012. There were around the same amount of sets this time, and the main character cast was also the same with the addition of Lloyd. On the villain side, there were now 17 different Serpentine plus a new variant of Garmadon, more than doubling the initial wave's enemy faction size. Collecting the team was made a little easier this time around because of one set. That set was 9449 Ultrasonic Raider, which retailed for $79.99 13 years ago. This set included the original quartet in their swanky new ZX outfits, as well as Pythor, the main villain of the season, and Spitter, a low-level but nonetheless beloved Serpentine goon. So, as well as a great build, it's safe to say this set had a killer figure lineup. Now, this season introduced us to Lloyd Garmadon, Ninjago's poster child and central character. He had 2 versions, Child and Green Ninja. The Green Ninja suit was the most highly coveted item in the TV show, and it appeared in only 2 Ninjago sets and later 1 LEGO Movie set. Thankfully for fans, one of said sets was the Lloyd ZX spinner, which only retailed for $9.99. The Child version also appeared in a booster pack that was only $4.99, so neither Lloyd was particularly costly to acquire. Kai's sister Nia donned the Samurai X suit for the first time this season, and just like Lloyd, she appeared in 1 larger set and then a cheap spinner. Kai, Jay, Zane, and Cole all appeared in spinners or booster packs as well, so if you wanted to get the main 6 team members for the cheapest amount possible, it would only cost around $60, or about $84 today, factoring in inflation. Sensei Wu was a bit more difficult in this season, only appearing in the Epic Dragon Battle and Destiny's Bounty, 2 of the largest sets. He also appeared in the Temple of Light in the same outfit the following year. The Destiny's Bounty was the smaller of those 2 sets and retailed for $79.99. The villains were a bit harder to collect this time around as well, because instead of 1 general, there were now 4: Phantom, Acidicus, Scalador, and Scales, who appeared in that select order in the Fangpire Truck Ambush, Epic Dragon Battle, Destiny's Bounty, and Cole's Tread Assault, all sets that are on the larger side. So these characters tend to be some of the more pricey Ninjago minifigures these days. Of the other 12 unique Serpentine, however, most appeared in at least one set, as well as a booster pack or spinner. In fact, a couple like Mesmo and Lazaru only appeared in the booster packs and nowhere else. I believe the only exception was Snike of the Constricti tribe, who was the only goon not to receive a spinner or booster pack, despite his fellow tribe members getting this treatment, which also unfortunately means he missed out on getting a character card as well. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point was that in the early days of the theme, it was not difficult to get a large array of builds and minifigures for a relatively low price, and I think it's always a good thing to have a broad spectrum of characters in smaller and more affordable sets. So let's fast forward a few years to 2016, the year Ninjago's 6th season came out. By this time, the Ninjago team had figured out that it was more profitable to split up the minifigures across a lot of sets. Also, there were of course no spinners or booster packs anymore. So apart from some select polybags or European magazines, there was no widely available cheap way to get the figures. Cole appears in the smallest set of the wave, Cole's Elemental Earth Dragon, but if you'll recall, Cole had turned into a ghost by season 6, though he did not have the ghost face in the Elemental Dragon set. He did, however, have the updated face in Tiger Widow Island, and later on the Green NRG Dragon, both significantly larger sets. Lloyd appears with his mask in the Sky Shark, Jay in his Elemental Dragon, Zane in the Raid Zeppelin, and Kai in either the Ninja Bike Chase or Misfortune's Keep, which gives us a total of $140 or about 188 these days, which sure is less than the 260 I calculated for the pilot wave, but remember that was including every single different minifigure available. This time around we haven't even touched on the villains. For example, a set with season 6's main antagonist Natakan would set you back at least $79.99 at the time, but things will continue to go downhill over the next few years. Let's skip ahead to 2019 when Ninjago's 11th season was released. There were only 8 sets released in the Forbidden Spinjitzu wave, 12 if we include the Spinjitzu Slammers, but LEGO wanted to make sure that you bought every single one because in the mainline sets there were 2 different sets of outfits. Regular Lloyd appeared in Lloyd's Titan mech and then a maskless version in Lloyd's Journey. Forbidden Spinjitzu Lloyd appeared in the Castle of the Forsaken Emperor, Regular Kai appeared in the Katana 4x4 and Cole's Dirt Bike, and Forbidden Spinjitzu Kai appeared in Firefang. Regular Jay and Nia in the Land Bounty, Forbidden Spinjitzu Jay in the Shuricopter, Forbidden Spinjitzu Nia in the Katana 4x4, Regular Zane in the Shuricopter, and Forbidden Zane in Lloyd's Titan mech, and lastly, Regular Cole in Cole's Dirt Bike in the Castle of the Forsaken Emperor, and Forbidden Spinjitzu Cole in the Land Bounty. So for you children who were paying acute attention, you will have noticed that the only 2 sets that you could skip out on and still have all the figures were the smallest ones of the entire wave. And even then, they throw in Akita's Wolf variant in Lloyd's Journey as a tasty incentive to buy it, which gives us a nice low price of $430 for those 6 juicy sets, which is another $113 on top adjusted to today's prices. And of course, if you want the Spinjitzu Slam outfits as well, that'll be another $50 for all 4. So by 2019, you can see that LEGO had figured out the most efficient way to separate fans, and especially minifigure collectors, from their hard-earned money. But things continued to get more and more convoluted as we began getting more and more sets and minifigures every single year. And I think 2024 might be the worst offender when it comes to different minifigure variants. We had 4 sets of suits with the Mech Pilot outfits, Climber outfits, Source Tournament outfits, and the 3 Rising Dragon Strike minifigures. Not to even mention Master Lloyd and Mech Pilot Cole, with the latter being locked behind a $100 set. Oh yeah, there's also Wu and Euphrasia, exclusive to the Dragon Shrine, and the Temple Garden Mr. Pale, exclusive to Tournament Temple City, and I haven't even talked about the villains yet. But okay, maybe it's a bit unfair to look at the year as a whole, so now let's look at the most recent wave from June 2025. The ninja suits this time around were the Ghost Hunter versions, and much like previous waves, they're spread across as many sets as possible, but we now have the additions of Sora, Aaron, Wildfire, and Frack to the team. Nia and Zane only appear in the largest set of the wave, the Temple Bounty, which retails for $199. Lloyd and Sora can both be found in Rontu the Master Dragon for $49.99. Kai, Frack, and Cole can be found in the Ninja Combat Vehicle for $99.99, and if you want the fully suited up version of Aaron, you'll have to buy either Rogue's Mech Rider for $74.99 or Thunderfang from the March wave for $69.99. The best version of Jay appeared in the Temple Bounty, but the 4+ Rogue vs Strix race car duel included a new version of him with a new mask, so that's another $22.99 on top if you want that. For those of you proficient at maths, that's already $443. But let's not forget the Ninjago Legends sets, which include exclusive versions of Kai and Wu for $119 and $149 respectively, which brings our total to a very reasonable $713. Now obviously you could buy them all on Bricklink for a cheaper price, but that's a bit more of a hassle than simply buying the sets from a store. And like it or not, this is the sad truth of being a LEGO Ninjago collector, or even worse, a LEGO Ninjago minifigure collector. This is a theme which requires thousands of dollars every year if you want to purchase all that it has to offer. And don't even get me started on buying older sets. Remember, Ninjago has been going for nearly 15 years, and I'm fortunate enough to have been following it and collecting it since 2012. But imagine how daunting it would be as a newcomer to the franchise looking back at all these old sets that are now 3, 4, or sometimes even 10 times the price on the aftermarket. And that's when you can actually find them. The point is that being a truly dedicated Ninjago collector can be difficult. And I'm not complaining or saying they should change this. LEGO is a business and a company after all. I'm just presenting the facts and explaining the nature of this hobby. And there's also Ninjago resellers, but that's a completely different topic for another video. So I hope you've enjoyed what we've talked about today. If you would like to see another Ninjago video from me, click here, and any suggestions for future videos, Ninjago related or not, are very welcome in the comments. Thank you for watching until the end. That's been all for today, folks. Have a great day and see you in the next video.